We want to welcome you to the Riverside Weekly. We hope your time with us today is thought-provoking, spiritually challenging, and a life-changing experience. Our discussions and messages can be raw, real, and at times very uncomfortable and even controversial. We highly encourage all of our guests and listeners to take notes, leave comments, and when possible, always share what you hear. And now here are your hosts, Pastor Selo and Pastor Mia.
Good morning.
Morning, guys. How y'all doing? I forgot my bottle of water. Okay, so we have a clean table today.
Yay!
So we had some people, I don't want to say people, individuals, and some ministries and some businesses that, gave to our podcast and supporting, man. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much. You know who you are, and if you want to shout out, we'll give you one next week. But I don't always like to tell everybody who everybody's supporting us, but I don't.
Well, we have a lot of supporters.
I know. So,
anyway, let's start over. Welcome to Riverside Weekly.
Welcome to Riverside Weekly.
It's Wednesday, guys.
Anyway, so we got rid of our mics. So we have open space, right?
Just kidding.
So we're doing some things different a little bit, growing, moving up in technology, hopefully.
Getting ready to travel.
And so, we're making some adjustments.
Getting mobile, right?
Being mobile, going to be more mobile.
I want to do another shout out.
Okay.
So today's podcast topic was actually given to us.
Okay.
And thanks, Nick Labra out there, because
What up?
yeah, Nikki Labra, she was just talking one day and just happened to come out with this topic, and I was like, that's a great podcast topic.
So I guess that's what we're talking about. What are we talking about this morning?
We are talking about the Battle of the Tragedies.
Battle of the Tragedies.
Yeah, it's not the Battle of the Bands. I mean,
The one-up.
The one-up?
No.
It's Battle of the Tragedies, honestly.
Okay.
It could be the one-up, but I don't really, I know you like that term, but some people may not even know what that is.
Okay.
So Battle of the Tragedies, basically, again, like I said, we were just talking and it just happened to come out. It was, two kids talking about boo-boos. Because if you don't know, Nikki Labra is our...
she's over
our
nursery.
nursery.
Yeah,
She's
over
our nursery director. And, she is the Band-Aid guru. I thought I was, but she can, just...
First aid it up.
Yeah, first aid it up in, no time. But what happened is somebody wanted a Band-Aid, and then the other kids saw it, and they were like... and so everybody wanted a Band-Aid, and she was like, oh, because your tragedy is worse than hers. So we just got to talking about it after that, and we're like, you know what? That's how people do life,
Yeah, it really is.
And they're like, I broke up with my boyfriend or my girlfriend, and somebody's like, but, this happened to me, and so it goes on.
Yeah. I was going to say, that sounds kind of scriptural, but...
Tell me.
What says, if somebody's crying, cry with them. If they mourn with them. If they celebrate with them. I know that's not what you're talking about.
That is not what I'm talking about, but it was good. It was good. But I like it.
You're more talking about what I would call the one-up.
Okay, explain to us the one-up so that we can go.
So
okay.
one-up is basically, I did this and this and this, and then somebody else is going like, oh yeah, but I did this. Right, so in other words, you can never do better than the other person because they always did better.
Well, see,
but you're saying the opposite.
The opposite
with
of
kids
doing better.
And people is like, well, I had a flat tire. Oh yeah, well I had a flat tire.
And I went uphill, barefoot,
and I had to walk
in the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
type thing. So tragedy versus one-up, those are two different things.
Yeah,
they mean the same thing.
One-up is trying to do something really good, and I guess what you're talking about is the tragedy is
mine is worse than yours.
I'm in a worse position or worse condition or whatever
Yeah.
than you are.
Yeah, and really, honestly, I think people try to live life like that. We would call that the victim mentality.
Ooh, wow, you brought back an old
I did.
thought process there.
I did. Explain to us.
Victim mentality, basically.
Oh, wise. Oh, wise.
well,
and noble
one.
one.
Oh, Yoda, speak to me. I'm going
Actually, that was a Disney line
Oh, sorry.
from Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Yeah,
Okay,
Princess
yeah.
Jasmine.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So-
Oh, wise and noble one. Okay, go.
So, what was I asking about? You lost my train
I
of
was
thought.
telling
I'm
you
trying
to
to
tell
figure out
us
what movie it
about
was.
tell us about not oh god I don't even know now, we got sidetracked with movie lines we always do, but just saying that my victim mentality, I'm the worse victim than you are.
Yeah, so victim mentality is basically where you can never win. Everybody's out to get you. Nobody has it worse than you. You're always getting the short end of the stick. Nothing ever works out for you. God and all of the angels are against you, plus the devil. Your mother-in-law and your father-in-law against you. All your siblings, you're literally a victim of everything, right? Like
No matter what it
no
is.
matter what it is, you get a paper cut. It's not that you handled.
It was set up that way.
Yeah, it's not that you had you handled the paper wrong. It's that somebody put a sharp edge paper and
On
handed
purpose,
it to you and left it for you on purpose.
and left it there so it
you.
would slice your finger open just for you.
Yeah.
Right.
So a victim mentality is really or literally just you placing yourself as a victim, always being the victim. It doesn't matter the situation, doesn't matter the circumstance. I mean, I remember telling a young person one time years ago, it's almost an Eeyore spirit, right? You're just in a woe's me all of the time. Can sometimes lead to depression and all this other stuff, but a lot of it is just you being the victim or feeling like you're the victim, like you can't win. Always, like nothing goes right? It's always a rainy day.
Yeah. Always. Yeah, Eeyore. The
Yeah,
Eeyore
exactly
mentality.
right. Yeah, Eeyore mentality. And somebody can come and celebrate, and you're like, well, might happen for you, but it never happens to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If
And
it
you
wasn't
can't-
if it wasn't for bad luck, I would not have any luck at all.
Oh, I've
Right.
heard that before. And I think Battle of the Tragedies, when I think of that, I think of, again, someone saying that my luck is worse than yours, or, oh, yeah,
My life
type
is
thing.
worse than
My
yours.
life is worse than yours, yeah.
You hate your job? My job's a lot
Worse.
worse.
Let me tell you what my job is,
Yeah.
or whatever. And, it's so funny, and I really don't like talking about my coworkers now that they're listening to the podcast, but I'm just saying that, we do have...
So sorry, guys.
We do have someone that does that, and just always tragic ending to every story. And I'm just like,
I don't know if we can edit all this out or not.
We
Maybe
can't.
we're some
We
trouble.
can't.
Oh my goodness.
so, but that's okay. I don't know if everybody knows where I work, so that's okay. We'll just leave it at that. But
You gotta listen to the
you
last
may-
10, 15, 20
No, don't,
podcasts and we can
don't,
figure out where she works.
don't.
But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, I was just saying, you might even work at a place that someone always has something to cry about, honestly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that you're having a bad day. They take the attention off of you and put it on themselves. Oh yeah, my battle's worse than yours, or my tragedy is worse than yours. And I'm not saying, and I'm not belittling those things that are tragic in our lives, obviously. But I'm saying, most people do smile through the pain or get over it, or work through it. I don't want to say get over it.
Yeah, that's a difference between going through a real life tragedy
Versus a made-up tragedy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there are made-up tragedies.
Yeah,
He set that paper there just so I would cut my finger.
Yeah,
And then I got an infection and it turned into staph. Oh
Right.
yeah? And then they had to cut it off.
Exactly. Like a lot of times I think there are people that have tragedies, and things happen in life, but sometimes for them just getting up and going is huge victory. They're winning. They're not living in that tragedy. They're not thinking in those terms.
There's a lot of
getting
people
up,
like
going
that,
to work,
yeah.
smiling. That's work. But people, a battle happened to them, and then they just completely shut down.
Give up.
Like they just they give up, they go into depression, like, and it just gets really bad. But then when they're bad, you think, or you see somebody else and you immediately think, well, they still have it better than me, right? But I'm going through this, and I'm dealing with this, and I'm dealing with that. And the sad thing about it is that when you look at somebody, you should always, to me, I feel like, this is just me, I feel like when you see somebody in their situation, you should really appreciate the situation they're in, but then really just be like, thank God that you're not in that situation, or that you came out of that situation, instead of saying the one up, I call it one up, it's like, well, my situation's worse. You should be like, man, praise God, I didn't have to go through that.
Yeah,
right?
well,
Or at least I didn't have to deal with this,
Well, you said something that made me think of something, and people who say that, well, I lost my job and now I'm in a depression. Okay, bro, you lost your job. You didn't lose your life.
You're right.
I mean,
you got to show up on time, man. No.
I'm just saying. But, you're still alive. There's still things you can do,
Yeah, and I think that's where...
And people, are working through those kinds of things.
That's what I'm saying. And I think
instead of getting depressed and laying down.
Right. So a person who has a traumatic experience, right? They may go through that or feel that, but the ones that do not have a victim mentality are the ones that get up in the morning, the ones that keep going, they keep pressing through.
Good.
They're not trying to say, well, my situation is worse than yours, or you didn't have to deal with this and you didn't have to deal with that. They're literally pressing in and moving forward in life instead of being stuck right there with lacking, like, well, you just don't understand how bad it is. And I'm not saying that your situation
isn't bad.
I'm
It
just
could
saying,
be, but it
I'm
is.
saying, but when you're comparing it to somebody else's and saying that yours is worse than
Yeah.
theirs, I think it belittles the individual and their
Yes.
situation.
Yes.
And so I think it's important that you have that perspective. I always believe that having a perspective of where everybody else is or somebody else is, it gives you a different view.
Paradigm
A
shift.
paradigm shift. Ooh, big word today.
Word of the day
Word of
is
the day is paradigm. And so, which means basically a view change, a change of thought process. And a lot of times I think that we get stuck in that victim mentality because it's easier to stay there than to be victorious. It's easier to stay there than it is to have the victory, because you can feel downtrodden, you can feel overwhelmed, you can feel depression. I mean, like, all these things are real.
Yeah.
And what makes it worse is that when you say that it's worse, it actually starts to get worse.
Yeah.
Right? Well, it's worse. I have it worse. Well, then trust me, if you're saying
then it's going to be
it's
worse
going to start
for you.
getting worse for you. And so, I don't know. I think I'm done.
Well, I was going to say, there's two thoughts. Number one, you made me think of it. But it's kind of like being broke. You're broke and poor. We talked about this before.
Yeah, on the podcast, about
poor is a mentality. Broke is temporary.
Right.
And
you're right. And from the aspect of being a victim is a mentality.
Yeah.
You have to see yourself as a victim, not just feel like the victim. You have to see yourself as a victim. And people that are victim-minded, they always make it about themselves.
Yeah.
They always make it about their issue.
Yeah.
And because it's about them and about their issue, now they have it worse.
Yeah.
And so it's sad, but that victim mentality is really it's really a selfish perspective, right? Because you're wanting all the attention. Woe's me, look at me, I need help, I need this. Because, you and I know we've had relationships and we've helped people and try to help people that no matter
what you do, woe is me.
Yeah, like you can't help them.
And what do we always say? You just wanted the bull to get me. Okay, fine. The bull can get you. Talk about that for a second, because I'm going to end with a really good phrase.
So, when I was much younger than I am now, I know it's hard to tell because I have facial hair now. But I was when I was younger, my grandfather would always tell us, like, you can't ever do anything because the bull always going to get you, right? So the bull you want the bull to get me, goes like this, right? So what would you do if a bull came running past us through that wall? What would you do?
Jump out of the way.
So where would you go?
To the right.
So if you jump to the right, then the bull comes to the right. Now where are you going to go?
To the left.
So if you jump to the left, the bull's coming to the left. Now where are you going to go?
I'm going to hide.
Where are you going to hide?
Behind the chairs.
What if the chairs weren't there?
I'll hide in the other room.
What if the other room wasn't there?
I'll go outside.
What if there was no building outside? It was just gone. Everything's there.
Well, I'll just run.
Where are you going to run to?
I don't know.
That's my point. It's like, in
No
other words,
matter
no
what.
what you say, no matter response you give, the bull will always get you. And a lot of times, a person who has a victim mentality, no matter what solution you give them, no matter what solution you offer them, suggestions, they have an excuse or a reason why they have to be the victim and why they must stay the victim. And you can't help these folks. Like, as much as you want to, you're literally pouring water into a broken vase. Like, it's just not going to take anything. It's not going to take root. And this is why we get frustrated with individuals, because they're victims, or they see themselves as a victim, and it's frustrating and it's tiring for us.
That's why people do give up on some people.
Yeah, because they stay in that spot.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I'm going to end with this because it was really good. This was my second thought. So I heard a message one time, and it said, "Are you going to be the victim or are you going to be the victor?" And
Who's Victor?
You said that a second ago about being victorious, and
yeah.
so either you're going to have a victim mentality of, oh, woe is me, or the Eeyore mentality, or you're going to be like, no, and pump yourself up and hype yourself up, or have a hype man, as I said before in another podcast, but saying, I've got the victor living inside of me, and we sang
Old school song. Keep going. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna give a new school song, but since you were talking, never mind.
When you said that, I heard, I got the victor living in me. I got Victor living in me. Like, who's Victor? I don't know, but he's living in me.
So we sang a song Sunday, and it just made me think of that, because it was like, I'm going to see a victory. I'm going to see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. And, it was crazy, because this is the one thing I saw. I used to have the victim mentality, and hey.
No, I'm joking. I was
like, I did. I'm.
No, you did. I
did. But I heard that message, and that message just really changed a lot of things in me. And I was like, you know what? It was almost like a spiritual death and a spiritual awakening. I was dying because I was allowing me to be in that woe is me state, or that, my tragedy's worse than yours. And I just remember hearing the Lord and listening to that message, and him telling me, are you going to be the victim or are you going to be the victor? Get your butt up from there and get over there and say something and do something.
Wait. God used the word but?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I know. And saying that to say that after I heard that, I now am a different person than I was before, because I live a victorious life, not a downtrodden life, not a, victim life, not So it just made me think, when we were singing this song Sunday, I'm going to see a victory. I don't remember how it goes.
I don't either.
And
it was really good.
It was really good. So you can look it up. Google it, whatever, YouTube it. I'm going to see a victory. I'm going to see a victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. And anyway, at the end of that song, I saw myself, and really not myself, but I just saw a person at the end of a football game running across the field with a flag, the white flag, because they made a touchdown. And that's the victory we're supposed to be living in, that victorious life, and not saying my tragedy is worse than your tragedy. You're supposed to get up and get the flag and run and show the enemy that you've won the battle. Yeah, that God won the battle for you. Yeah. And I saw that, and not to say that our sanctuary is huge, but I just saw that, and I'm like, no one, yeah. But thanks. And the other thing that I thought after I saw that was, no wonder why they have interpretive dancing in churches.
We'll do that next week. Interpretive dancing.
But it made me think of that, and I'm like, that's why, because you have to show the enemy that you're the victor, that you're not a victim, and so
be victor.
No, don't be Victor. Walk around. I'm Victor.
I'm Victor.
Hi, my name is Victor. I thought your name was Mia. Well, it is,
Well,
but
today I'm Victor.
yeah.
I had a rough day.
Yeah.
I'm Victor today.
But I'm just saying that I just felt like that was really important, that we needed to talk about that don't live in your tragedy, and don't try to one up somebody's tragedy, or beat somebody's tragedy. We understand that you have tragedies. We understand that life is gonna happen, and nobody said you were always gonna it was gonna be beautiful. But God is there to get us through that and to help us become the victor and not live in our poopy pampers with our tragedies.
Greater is he on the inside of you than the he that's in this world.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus, for tuning in.
See, sometimes
today.
we spiritual. You never know.
Thanks for tuning in today to Riverside Weekly.
Yeah.
Sure appreciate you coming in.
Where's the offering bucket?
I wish if I could speak Spanish, I'd talk in Spanish, but I don't. Espiritu Santos. Okay.
That was good. Stay there. Stay in church, brother.
Okay,
Stay in
all
church.
right.
All right. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us, and I'm so glad that you send in topics and give us topics.
Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you guys for giving, sowing. Man, we appreciate all your support. Like, share, follow us, man. Anything that you grab from us or whatever you get, man, we sure appreciate you guys. Talk to you guys later. We'll see you next week.
I was gonna say,
Uh-oh,
and don't stay down, and don't let the man get you down.
Don't let the man get you. Peace out. See you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Riverside Weekly. This podcast is made possible by the givers of Riverside Community Church. Download the Riverside Waco app to stay connected and follow us on all social media sites at the Riverside Waco. Production and engineering provided by Capital G and RTV in Waco, Texas.